What is going on, everybody? ZyoniK here, and in today's video we're going to be doing the Little Cup. Now, I think I'm going to stick to Ultra League this week on the rotation, but I just wanted to give you guys my best, my favorite, my most consistent team that has no XL Pokemon in it. Yes, XL Bronzer is great. Yes, XL Wynut is great, but you don't need them to win. It's the Little Cup. 500 combat Pokemon. Save some of your Stardust. Try some of these Pokemon out. Alolan Sandshrew, Wooper, and Barboach right here. Very consistent, very strong. The Barboach is our safe swap. Alright, getting into the first battle here. We have Sandshrew on the lead versus Stunky. Now, this is a very tough Pokemon to deal with because of the Shadow Bite damage, so we're going to go ahead and go into Barboach because we are, excuse me, doing super effective damage. Now, they do decide to swap to try to catch the charge move, which is fine. I was just going to build up to double Mud Bomb and see what they do, but in this case now I can safely go for Ice Beam here against the Lotad, as it will do a lot of neutral damage, and then go ahead and fire off the Mud Bomb just before I go down to see if I can get any extra chip damage or shield pressure, and we get a shield. That is huge right here. This is absolutely huge. Sandshrew now can come in and load up on energy. Powder Snow, thankfully, is neutral damage in this situation. We just need to be careful about the charge move that they could throw, so I'm going to decide to let it go, and it is just a Bubble Beam, which is perfect. That's not going to be anywhere near enough to take us out, and now I'm going to go ahead and throw the Night Slash here before they can get to another one. I don't want to get hit with another charge move. I want to have this remaining health, and we do take out Lotad. We're going to go ahead and swap into Wooper as Stunky decides to come in, and once again, we're going to be forced to shield. Well, we're going to be forced, not once again, but we are going to be forced to shield here as the Crunch would KO us. And then we will see them swap into the Dino here, which is really, really good for us because now we have a setup situation where Wooper is going to put so much damage down with Body Slam that they're going to be forced to shield. We also don't have a lot of health remaining, so they can't farm us down for double charge moves, which is perfect. That means we can safely come in with the Sandshrew here, commit to the Powder Snow farm down. We lose if we don't. We win. In these situations, you have to commit to farm down. We will lose if we don't. So we're going to go ahead and farm down, which we do. And now we're going to throw that Night Slash here against the Stunky. Yes, it is resisted, but this is a Shadow Stunky at 500 combat power. It's going to be enough chip damage. That is going to be a good game, very well played. That's what I love about this team. Barboach sets you up with good shield advantage, potentially. Sandshrew has a lot of good pressure. Here's that XL Wynut we were talking about earlier. We're going to go ahead and go into Barboach's. Sandshrew doesn't like Wynut's fast move of counter, right? It does a lot of damage, but Barboach here can still put some decent pressure, but what's honestly going to happen in this matchup if they decide to stay in, it's going to do two things. Firstly, this tells me they're weak in the back. They got an XL Wynut. They probably have an XL Bronzer. They go hand in hand, right? Peanut butter and jelly here. So we see them swap into Dino, which is the second thing I want to talk about. The shield pressure that Barboach can put down. Boom! One-shots the Dino, and now they're going to come in with Wynut. Now that might have been a strategic play by my opponent. Clearly, they know that I have Ice Beam, and they probably wanted to let it down and give shields to Wynut and just get Dino out of the way so my Sandshrew can't load up on energy from it. So that's a smart play from them, but I am fully expecting a Bronzer in the back, so we're going to play to that. I'm going to go ahead and look to shield right here. I think the Mirror Coat, it does a decent amount of damage, plus if you're adding up the counter, I need to have health here on Wooper, and I also need to have lots of energy when they do decide to swap into that Bronzer, because you and I both know that thing is lurking in the back, especially since they shielded right there. So I'm going to keep loading up. I don't want them to catch a Body Slam, so I got to be very careful about when I decide to throw. I'm going to let this Mirror Coat go through, and then now I'm going to go ahead and go for Body Slam, and this is the situation where if they let it go, we'll have to see what's in the back. They decide to shield, so I'm going to go ahead and they actually swap into Bronzer right away. Maybe this Bronzer has confusion. I didn't see the fast move right there, but at least we get one Mud Bomb off. And now I'm going to have to swap out into Sandshrew and save the Wynut here, or the Wooper, I should say. But this is what's beautiful about Alolan Sandshrew, is we successfully kept it away from the Wynut because counter damage would be very deadly for us. And now we're in a situation where we want to shield this charge move in case it is payback, which is just going to be a heavy slam that would still hurt. But we want to have as much energy as possible. If they come back in with that Wooper here at any moment, I need to be able to throw a Night Slash right away. There is no messing around with that. So they are likely going to be swapping out after this charge move, so we got to be ready for it. They go ahead and shoot the heavy slam, and sure enough, there's the Wynaut, so I throw the Night Slash right away, and we are able to land it and still survive, which is definitely important. Now we get a boost as well, and with 1 HP and a dream, we are able to get the Night Slash off. So this team lost lead to Wynaut and was able to take down the XL Wynaut and XL Bronzer. This is what I'm telling you guys. Yes, you can use those XL Pokemon, but you don't need them to win. These Pokemon do just fine. Alright, Dino here on the lead. Very positive for us. Good lead advantage. Now we see them swap into a Seal, and Seal is honestly a tough thing to handle with this team. I personally like to go for Night Slash and then go into Wooper and then try to maintain switch advantage, especially since we get a shield right there, which is going to allow me to come out of this matchup with Wooper, possibly with shield advantage if I can. And there is going to be a situation here where sometimes it's okay to lose this mid game, because you got to remember we have Barboach in the back with Ice Beam, which means, you know, we throw back-to-back Ice Beams, the Dino's not going to survive. Heck, even Mud Bombs, it'll go down pretty quick. So we're just going to go ahead and throw these Body Slams right here. And this is where I'm going to basically look to risk it. I'm going to let this go through. It is going to be Icy Wind, and I'm going to try to get this Body Slam off, and I do. This is beautiful. This is, again, a situation where it puts their back into a corner, and they decide to shield. So we lose switch, but we have 2-0 shields. You guys all know Barboach is going to come in and one-shot the Dino when it does decide to come into this matchup. So we're going to go ahead and shield the Aqua Tail and then commit to the farm down with Powder Snow. Now we have lots of energy here on Sandshrew. This is a beautiful situation. And they actually have a Vulpix in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the Night Slash. But my opponent made a really tricky move. They swapped into Dino on the charge move. So now I'm in a situation here where I need to overload on energy. I couldn't get to the Ice Beam in time, so I have to dance a very, very fine line right here. We're going to go ahead and load up, and then we're going to go for Ice Beam now to take it out. I don't think Mud Bomb is just not enough to take them out, so we go for the guaranteed Ice Beam, because now we have the guaranteed Mud Bomb here with Vulpix. And then remember what we just did with Sandshrew. We Powdered Snow down the Seal, which means we have back-to-back Night Slashes, and this Vulpix is 1 Ember away, so we are going to be able to take it, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. A very dicey one, very good back and forth there from my opponent. I like the swap to catch the resisted charge move. That was very interesting, but ultimately able to take it. Sandshrew now versus Wooper here on the lead, so this is a very tough lead for us to be facing off against, because our safe swap of Barboach really doesn't like the Body Slam or Mud Bombs here. It's going to be Body Slam. It does a bit more neutral damage. As you guys can see, that's a lot. That's like 50%. And they swap in a Shelmet, which is also very tough to handle. It's extremely bulky. It resists the Mud Bombs, which forces me to throw Ice Beams, and thankfully that still does a good chunk of damage. But they can farm down if they want to. They're going to decide not to, but they could farm down with Infestation, which is that fast move, and it gains energy at a pretty decent rate as well. And Body Slam spam is something to watch out for, and Bug Buzz as well here from Shelmet if they have it. Bug Buzz, even though it is resisted, it hits like a truck because this is the Little Cup. So we got to be careful here. There's a Wooper that is deadly in the back. I don't know what their final Pokemon is, but whatever it is, we got to hope that Wooper can take it. So we're going to go ahead and no-shield this next Body Slam. It's okay, it's resisted. We see them swap now into their own Wooper, so now we need to unleash Night Slashes, and I think this is where I make a slight mistake. I decide to go for 2, so I go ahead and go for the back-to-back here. I want to try to get myself shield advantage, come in with Wooper, right? And then we'll be in a good situation where we have health on them, we have shields on them, but they have energy on us. And this is the scariest thing about Wooper. If you guys have used it or faced off against it, it doesn't matter how little health Wooper has. If you can't get rid of it right away and it has energy, it is going to run through a team. So now we're going to go ahead and go for Body Slam here. We already are even on shield, so if they decide to shield this, which they don't, we'll have to see what the final Pokemon is, but they still have Shelmet in the back, and this is what's tough, because we didn't get rid of this Pokemon. It can just do so well with Body Slam spam, so we're going to go ahead and throw the next one, and now I'm in a very, very tough position where I'm forced to shield this Body Slam, and I cannot farm down. So I'm going to go ahead and load up on energy. I'm going to look to swap, and they swap at the same time, and there is a seal in the back. So there's not a lot I can do. This was a good game. They had a really good lineup right there. Maybe a team you guys might want to look to copy. Wooper, Seal, and Shelmet, as it just did so well against my team. I really didn't have an answer for it because Wooper can get out of control. Shelmet is really nice neutral damage, and Seal makes for a very good anchor that can just soak a lot of damage. So overall, good game to my opponent right there, but Seal is going to go ahead and take it with the Aqua Tail. All right, moving into the next battle. We have, let's see, we got Sandshrew versus Bronzer, Shiny Bronzer. Okay. So our whole team does well against this, and they decide to swap out into Stunky right away. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in my Wooper now, because Body Slam here is going to be very effective at getting shields early. And if we get a shield here, we might be able to commit to the farm down. So we do get a shield. Might not be able to commit to the farm down. Let me correct that. Go for the double Body Slam, which is definitely going to be putting so much pressure on them, because now they're basically cornered to double shield because they want to take switch advantage, which is fine with me. I can come in with Barboach right here and fully farm down, or I decide to come in with Sandshrew instead. But I have Barboach. Barboach could have been an option there to come in and farm down, but ultimately I think energy here on Sandshrew is going to be a bit better. So we're going to go ahead and look to go for Night Slash. Now, they decided to come back in with Bronzer, which tells me whatever they have in the back is going to be weak, so I'm guessing it's a Dino, so I'm going to swap in, but it's actually a Volibee. So same situation, but for us, it doesn't matter. If you're a Dino, if you're a Volibee, you're taking super effective damage from Ice Beam. Boom! Nearly one-shots the baby bird right there. And now we're in such a good position here where we can fully farm down, stop this Dark Pulse, which is going to be shielded, commit to the hard farm down with Mud Shot against a Flyer, and now we're going to be able to get off 3 Mud Bombs here versus Bronzer, and there's really not a lot they can do. Even if they can commit to the farm down here and take me out, I have way too much energy on this Barboach because of that Volibee setup. If it was the same situation with Dino, it would be a good game both ways, but we can take it out, and that is going to be a good battle. So again, beating another Bronzer team. This team is capable of it. It's so much fun, so spammy. I have used this team every single rotation. All right, moving to the next one, we got Sandshrew versus Bronzer, Shiny Bronzer once again. So let's see what our opponent decides to do. They decide to swap out into a Zigzagoon. I'm like, okay, the Zigzagoon has Tackle. All right, what other charge move does it have? I have no clue, but I'm going to go ahead and shield, and it was a Body Slam, so that's going to be resisted. But again, we don't necessarily need to swap out because we have 2 great answers in the back to Bronzer. So instead, we want to take this Zigzagoon out, which we do with the Gyro Ball there, and we're able to farm down. And the Bronzer is likely going to be coming back in now that it has shield advantage. So we're going to look to swap out into Barboach if we can and kind of draw out whatever else they have in the back. Now, they come back in and they're not swapping out. So I'm going to go ahead and just unleash these Mud Bombs right away. If your opponent doesn't instantly swap out, that means they don't have a counter in the back, or they're hoping to try to catch the charge move, because right here, Barboach is just going to shred through with Mud Shot and Mud Bomb. So we're going to let the first Psy Shot go through. It's not enough to KO us. And I'm going to go ahead and throw another Mud Bomb. Again, hard reading. Something in the back is weak. We can safely keep Wooper in the back with a shield, 1-0, and we just take out the Bronzer. What do you got in the back? It is a Shadow Alolan Sandshrew. All right, this is going to be tough. This is going to be tough. We come in with our own Sandshrew. We're going to go for Night Slash right away. Reason being, we might be able to get a shield from them early right here, and they decided to no-shield it. That is risky on their part. Absolutely risky, because now I think I can Mud Shot down. And this is what's beautiful. If we got a shield there, and they get the attack boost. If we got a shield there, we double Mud Bomb and win this game. Since we didn't get a shield, we can Mud Shot down. It's a checkmate situation, and it's beautiful. So good game to my opponent, but it makes a lot of sense why they came back in with Bronzer. We had double Mud Boys in the back, so that is going to be a good game. All right, moving into the next one, we got Sandshrew versus Dino. This is going to be a pretty good lead for us, and they do decide to swap out into Seal right here. So we're going to go ahead and throw that Night Slash and then swap back into the Wooper here and try my best to get to this Body Slam in time before the Icy Wind comes through. Not able to get it. Unfortunately, one turn behind right there. as Icy Wind is going to land, but we're still in a good situation. Now, we didn't get a shield from them. We did chunk the health. And remember, we can easily come back in and farm down with Sandshrew if need be, but this is a very good position where Body Slam here might just be enough to KO. I don't think it's going to be, but it just might. No, it's not. We got a couple more mud shots to do, and this is where I risk it here. This is tough. We're going to go ahead and no-shield the Icy Wind and try to commit to the Mud Shot farm down, but they instead decide to swap back into Dino. This is a huge situation for me in Sandshrew because now I can just commit to the farm down and safely give up a shield. Sandshrew in this meta is going to get shields from your opponent. I don't care what you're running. Sandshrew is going to get a shield, so we're going to go ahead and shield once ourselves and max out our energy right here. Now let's see what they decide to bring in. Remember, they still have the seal in the back, so we got to be careful about a safe swap. It's going to be a Ducklet. Okay, perfect. We can do a lot of neutral damage here with Night Slash. We have Ice Beam Barboach in the back, so now we have 2 more Night Slashes ready to go. This is guaranteed to get a shield from my opponent, and we do get one, so we're going to go ahead and now swap into the Barboach here, because this is what's going to happen, basically, is, well, they decide to swap into seal to try to catch the charge move. That's a good attempt. I was just at the Ice Beam. But now I put them in a tough situation. They have to KO me with Brave Bird, which means Night Slash from my Sandshrew will then KO. So we're gonna safely shield. It is gonna be a Bubble Beam, which is okay. We're gonna go ahead and race to the next Ice Beam because they have to KO me with Brave Bird. We're forcing their hand right here. They can't keep Bubble Beaming me and farm me down. So we're just going to go ahead and throw another Ice Beam. And Switch Clock is coming back up, so we're going to look to get into that as soon as we can. Unfortunately, it's not there just yet, so we're going to go ahead and throw a Mud Bomb here. And I believe this was CMP tie. So this is looking to be a good game as Mud Bomb, not enough to KO the Ducklet, but they did decide to throw energy, which is fine. We have Night Slash ready to go on our Sandshrew. And there we go. Good game. This team, I'm telling you, it's so consistent. I know a lot of you guys have used it. And honestly, I think the MVPs of this team, the number 1 Pokemon is going to be Wooper, in my opinion. Sandshrew as well. And then Barboach is just such a beautiful safe swap that you guys can utilize. So, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.